Hello. So today I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about a few takeaways from a presentation that I gave last week at a conference. And the takeaways are from Jonathan Haidt's book, Anxious Generation. So I'm going to do a few of these videos, but today we're going to start by talking about the norms of pre-device childhood. So pre-device childhood, according to Jonathan Haidt in his book, was characterized by three things: free play, attunement, and social learning. We're going to just spend a few minutes just talking about what each of those are. Peter Gray defines free play as an activity that is freely chosen and directed by the participants and undertaken for its own sake, not consciously pursued to achieve ends that are distinct from the activity itself. Attunement is defined by Odelia Gertel-Kraybill as the nonverbal process of being with another person in a way that attends fully and responsively to that person. And finally, social learning means that we are evolutionarily conditioned to reward the best learners. We learn the most by copying others. This is where we get the idea of conformist bias. And we also grow most by picking the right people to copy, which is where we get the idea of prestige bias. As you can imagine, our device world really interferes with all of these. Our device world interferes with free play because our actions are rarely freely chosen. Think about all those notifications you're getting all the time. And it's rarely directed by us, the participants. There are algorithms that are feverishly working to guide and predict and inform the choices that we make. And finally, our actions on our devices and in our day-to-day life as a result are rarely undertaken for their own sake. Think of likes and comments and retweets and streaks. All of these things are usually the reason that many of us are interacting with our devices. When it comes to attunement, our devices oftentimes are interfering here as well. Because attunement is a non-verbal process, it is immediately interfered anytime that our devices are out, and especially anytime that we're using them. And so it limits our ability to be interactive with the people around us, specifically through things that are required for attunement, such as eye contact and supportive vocalization, speech, and body language. And finally, our device world also interferes with social learning. For children and teenagers especially, research has found that the years between age 9 and 15 are distinctly important for the development of self. And so when young people learn from online content that is at best disembodied and at worst warped and misleading, their senses of self are severely impacted as a result. So, some of my ideas for cultivating pre-device norms, these are not Jonathan Haidt, these are all Graham McBride. Number one, we need to be giving children and teenagers daily opportunities for free play with minimal adult supervision and involvement. So that rules out things like youth sports, where there's usually a coach involved, and it might also rule out some other kind of after-school activities where an adult is always involved in what's going on. Children and teenagers need opportunities to just roam free and do whatever they feel like doing. It's worth noting here that many children and many teenagers haven't been given many of these opportunities, and so they may have to be taught some things that they want to do that don't involve adult involvement and don't involve devices. If you find yourself to be a little bit stuck on what those activities could include, try to take yourself back to when you were a kid or when you were a teenager and think about some of the things you were doing. That might have been playing outside, riding bikes, playing board games, playing cards, drawing. Any number of those activities are great. As long as the child is choosing it for themselves, you're off to a great start. In the area of attunement, the simple recommendation here is to remove devices whenever possible, especially in environments where there are opportunities for interactivity, such as at the dinner table, in classrooms, and even in the car. Really focus here on the nonverbal opportunities to attune. So look each other in the eye, display positive body language, etc. And finally, when it comes to social learning, children and especially teenagers are looking to older people to learn. And especially as we move into that adolescent age, they're looking to people who are not their caregivers. And a lot of this is because they are trying to compare the wisdom and the knowledge that they've gained from those caregivers to other adults in their lives to see if kind of what they've learned stacks up over time. And the more we give them those opportunities, the better. And we would rather them be learning from people that we know and we trust than people and adults online who we don't know and therefore can't fully trust. So whether that looks like some kind of after-school program where children and teenagers learn from a coach or a mentor, or whether it looks like getting them involved in your school's mentor program, or allowing them to go on the weekend to their aunt or uncle, or even just a really good friend of yours who maybe doesn't have kids. All of these are amazing opportunities for children and teenagers to learn from people who are trustworthy and who are going to help your job as a caregiver, a teacher, or whatever your role in your child's life is. So all of that to say, pre-device childhood was rich with everything that children and teenagers needed to grow. And those three things are free play, attunement, and social learning. And if we're going to continue to raise and help these young people grow, that's still what they need. It's what we've always needed as children and teenagers, and we still need it today. And we just need to be mindful of how devices are interfering with that. If you enjoyed this brief chat today, please subscribe. And if you've got questions or comments, I would love to hear in the comments. Beyond that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon.